Okay, this is a video for the BQEYZ Autumn. It's got 3 configurations. I'm going to go ahead and show you a close-up look at it for about 2 minutes, and then come back and I'll give you some opinions using music. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, this is the BQEYZ Autumn. This is a 13mm dynamic driver with changeable filters. I'm not a big fan of filters, but this is kind of interesting the way that they did this. The cable is... it's nice. It matches the set aesthetically. It's not unwieldy and spidery. It seems like a decent quality cable. The buds themselves are pretty decent looking. They're kind of plain Jane on the outside. It looks like they've got a breather hole, and they've also got that filter right there. Speaking of the filters, one of the interesting points of this set, not a huge fan of filters, but let's see if we can get this. There's the bass filters, there's the normal, there's the treble. Now, I have a magic wand right here. It's a magnet wand. Coming stock with the normal, maybe I'll throw up a graph so you can see normal. Let's see if I can get that in there. Can you get this to focus? That'd be awesome. Please. There we go. And I want to take that filter out of there. There we go. Take that out. And I want to put the bass filter in there. And that's it. That's how you change it, the filter. So that's the bass. Take the bass out. And then we got one more, which is the treble. That was pretty painless and effective, and I didn't have any issues with it, and I'm doing it from behind the camera in zoom mode. And that would be the treble. Maybe I got a graph up that you can take a look at it. So it's got 3 different tunings. Switching between the tunings is actually quite easy. The balance of the set in your ears and in your hands is nice. It feels like it was built. Feels like a nice set. I'm a fan of this more so than I was the previous release, which I think was the BQEYZ Summer. Seems like they did a much better job with this one right here. I'm going to go ahead and get to the desk and give some impressions on sound. In its use and utility and interface between the user and their design using the magnet pole, I think is pretty clever. I like it, so I'm doing a video for the set because it's also tuned pretty good. So that's the close-up portion of the BQEYZ Autumn. Okay, that's the end of the close-up. It's a really sharp-looking set. It's nice in the hand. It's got the hidden stealth vents in it. It's got the magnet system, which I think is great. Let's go ahead and take a look at the tuning of the set. This is in its regular form. I guess it's what they consider balanced. It has a nice profile to my eyes and to my ears, though I'm doing my impressions and my opinions based on the bass, which would be this one, because this is really kind of in line with my target, which is what my preference is. So I'm going to give my evaluations on that. And you can assume, or other reviewers in the future will maybe get more in-depth with it, the treble and the stock configuration. But I'm going with the bass because it's actually not really that bassy to my ears. This would be the treble. You can see in the next one, all 3 of them. I'm correcting these, which means I'm lining them up at 1 kilohertz on this scale. And in doing that, it seems like it's feathering the mid-bass and the sub-bass. That's where it's really impacting the tuning with some slight differences here. If I were to adjust it at the bass, then it would make the treble look like it's going up and down. So it's kind of an effect of how myself and a lot of reviewers tend to line it up at 1,000 kilohertz. Some people do it at 500. I do it at 1,000. So you get this kind of feathering effect. It's subtle. It's nice. I really do prefer the bass. This is the graphing of the differences between just the bass region between the 3. It's got about 5 dB difference between the treble and the bass. Total difference between them is about 5 dB, and then the stock tuning is kind of splitting right down the middle. The midsection, this has got the whole labels, but this is actually really the mids, kind of to the upper mids with the gain region. They're all pretty much, again, correcting at 1K, they're all pretty much identical with how they were handling vocals, guitars, the harmonics that might kind of get, people say shouty. They're all about the same, and none of them are shouty, really. The treble one, of course, is putting more emphasis on the treble, but on the scale, it's not actually louder. But you might think it seems it because the bass is slightly decreased. So it's really good tuning. This set surprises me a lot. And this is the treble of all three. And again, this is corrected at 1 kilohertz. Until you get to about 5, there's really no difference. And then the stock tuning has the most dip between 6 and 8K. And it's also got about the highest peaks. It looks like the stock tuning is maybe putting some emphasis on the treble. I'm going to go ahead and put this down for a second. Talking about music, let's start with Big Boy by Killjill. The bass drop. This is a 13 millimeter driver, by the way. This is really, usually it's 10. That's pretty common for a lot of the dynamic drivers in this hobby. Lots and lots of them. The Tanstrom 02, the Melee, the Moondrop Audio, a lot of the ones that you're familiar with that are in multiple price ranges are usually around 10 millimeters, but this one is 13. It doesn't look like it's in a bigger shell. It does have impact when it comes to the drop, and it's a triple drop and then the 4-string bass guitar, and it sounds good, and it's got impact. It's not overly bassy. I might want a little bit more slam, but it's doing this nice, probably for most people. I'm kind of a bass head. It does this fine. On something that is more towards audiophile, where I can focus on faithful reproduction, this is a 4-string bass guitar that's playing in space at the same time and in the same area of the frequency response, drummer and a bassist at the same time. Dynamic drivers have a lot of trouble resolving this compared to planars like the Timeless and even the P1, which you can just pick up perfectly. Dynamic drivers can't quite do it as well, and BAs are somewhat lacking to my ears. This actually does it pretty good, above average, I would say, in my opinion, as far as its ability to resolve the releases of the bass string pulls, which is the resonance and the decay of those, which are done multiple per second. Does it good. I didn't find myself thinking that this is like okay. I thought it was fairly impressive, actually, to be honest with you. The mid bass check, which is Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits. Track 1, disc 2. This is kind of checking mid bass. If it's lifting up the vocals, too much mid bass give a kind of a husky sound to vocals, particularly male vocals, also Stevie Nicks female vocals. It's not really doing it on this set. I'm going to say again, I'm very surprised, because BQEYZ is not as, I think maybe a couple sets I've liked, but there's been lots of them that I didn't. So I didn't see this coming. Compared to the Summer, which I think was plastic and it had a giant shark fin in the treble, this is really a significant improvement in every way. The cable is like a graphene type cable. The buds are made of a strong material. They're unique in their design. They've got the breather holes in a way that I haven't seen before. The magnetic removal of the filters is super easy. The chance of you losing them because they're magnetically connected to their own board or to the IEMs is pretty slim. I really don't like playing with those things with tweezers, but this is pretty cool. If I were going to do something like this, I would do it like this. You know what I mean? Like if I could do multiple configurations. This is one of the better ways that I've seen. So the low frequency sounds fine. When we get up to vocals like Elton John, Fleetwood Mac Rumors in particular, again, because we've got 2 male and 2 female vocals that are doing, there's 3 in the back, 1 in the front, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. Mick Fleetwood, Lindsey Buckingham, Christy McVie, and Stevie Nicks. This whole album is a kind of a vocal check, and I thought that this set did it very well. Again, I'm listening in the bass configuration, but I thought that it did quite good. I noted that Ripple, Jerry Garcia, and the acoustic guitar, there's a like a mandolin, I think, in the beginning that gets kind of high up there. I thought it did it well. I checked electric guitars, Jimi Hendrix. Let me see if we can get to Electric Ladyland. Let's check that album one more time. That's That's good stuff right there. Was this censored in the United States for a little while? All Along the Watchtower is Jimmy's cover of Bob Dylan's song, and there's 3 solos in it, and there's 2 things to check with this track. One is the production of this is unique because it sounds like there's 3 different parts or recorded at 3 different times that are spliced together. I'll try to get the timestamps to you guys in the future so you can hear what I'm talking about. The very beginning of this sounds really crappy. It's on all the versions. And then the second part, after you get to the first guitar solo, it sounds like it improves. Just the quality of the production, like it's a different producer in a different studio. And then after that, at some point, it sounds really good. So the ability to discern the 3 parts of this track, there's actually, I think, 3 solos, but it's not lined up with the solos, is relative to the performance and the resolution and the technical ability of the driver. This set's doing it pretty good. I can pick up that the beginning is crap, like most stuff can, and I can hear it steadily improving, like good dynamic drivers do, or planars, or good hybrids. I was able to discern this, and the second check is the solos, which is using distortion pedals, and it's Jimi Hendrix on the guitar. I thought it all sounded very nice. That dip that it's got in the treble, which is I just like this. It calms the harmonics just a little bit. It's something that sets like the Bird and others do it intentionally. It's their kind of their signature, and it really is great with vocals, and also really makes electric guitar replay very appealing to myself. So I think that this is a good set. I'm going to compare it with some others. Checks like the kick drum on When the Levee Breaks, the low frequency is fine. It does everything it's supposed to. Vocals sound good. Upper harmonics of guitars and things that exist in my library are very good. I'm going to have to compare this with something in its price range because I believe this is $199. And I would usually think that's like a dead zone for me, kind of like you could get better stuff if you go just a little more. However, this is actually quite a good set in itself, and I question some of the things that are above it in price. This should be compared with that. If you can think of some things around, let's say 170 to 350, 400, go ahead and suggest it, and I'll put it in with this video, or whatever you suggest, because this is a legit thing that people should maybe consider. It's got 3 types of tuning. All of them are good to my ears. I prefer the bass one, which isn't even really bassy at all. The way that you change the configuration of it is really good. The cable is excellent. There's a lot of people that like those ZENNS graphene cable. This looks like that and feels like one because I got one of those too. That magnet, that wand thing they got, it's just dope as hell. So I recommend the set. I think it's really good. I will include it in future videos, like also the tin Hi-Fi T3 Plus. That just came out of left field. I'm doing Christmas decorations, so you'll see that on my Instagram, or I'll show you videos inside one of my videos. So I'm really kind of busy. You know, priorities. I'm always listening to music, but I'm not always critically evaluating gear. And there's a difference. When I just want to chill, I'm not going to put those into my thoughts when I do a review. This is when I'm thinking and I'm listening and I'm taking notes, like you guys have seen in videos before. That's what I just spoke about just now. That is the end of this. And now I want to talk about something really quickly. And this is for a person named BigErik, and he's a longtime subscriber and a longtime commenter on my channel. And if you've been here for a long time, you might commented under him, above him. He's in very poor health right now, and he went ahead and contacted me a few weeks ago, and he said, Thanksgiving is coming tomorrow or a couple days, so this is a really good moment to tell this story. He said, let me send you some money because I want to buy you and your lady a nice dinner. And I thought, you know, that sounds cool because we live in different countries. I'm over here in Japan. He's in America. And I checked my PayPal, and he sent me several $100s. $300, $400, $500. And I thought, geez, I went back and I checked the mail and I read it carefully because that's how I work. I usually skim stuff. And it turns out that he's actually in very poor health. And he wanted to do something nice for me. So what I did is I took the $500 that you sent, or close to that, and I went ahead and forwarded it to Charlie's Foundation, which is a lady that takes care of rescue animals, or she goes to shelters and she rescues the elderly dogs, because people usually don't go to get an elderly dog because you're going to fall in love with it and it's going to pass away in a year or two. But those older dogs are there because there's really, really bad people out there that move into a house, an apartment that doesn't allow dogs. So they take a dog they've had for 12 years and then they say, "You're sorry, the apartment doesn't allow it." Those people blow my mind, but I won't get into that rant. But that happens, and so lots of dogs and cats. I'm a cat person myself right now, but I grew up loving both. Those dogs get stuck, and this group right here takes care of them, specializes in that care. And I sent your money to them, and this is I just send money every month to them. I have 3 groups that I send money to. The Patreon money, Patreon is such a loss for me. I don't make any money. I lose several $100s because I have committed to 3 groups to send them money. Miss your donation, you said blah, blah, blah. Chris, that's way too much. This is you, BigErik. That's way too much. Bless you for your kindness. I usually send her about $200-300. Can meet all these wonderful. I wish you were here so you could meet all these wonderful senior dogs in person. Happy Thanksgiving to you and many blessings. That is to you, BigErik. That money was from you. I told her it was given to me by a dying man. Sorry to be so blunt. I'm not really good with cutting corners. Who wanted to buy me dinner. So he sent it to my PayPal. I just forwarded it to you. Take care and keep doing what you do. And this is for you, bro. I hope he knows how much we cherish and appreciate him and you for your continued kindness and support of what I do. That's what you did, Eric. You wanted to buy me dinner. I appreciate the gesture, but it's sitting there in PayPal. Take care of there's a certain irony here. It's Thanksgiving, number 1, and thank you for giving, BigErik. 2 is you're in not good health. And you've talked before about how you see yourself in me a little bit. So that means that you are older than I am. And they say sometimes that a society is judged on how it takes care of its elderly, because those are the people that built the foundations that the current generation is on. How do they caretake and take care of those that have gone before them? It's a good measure of a society. I agree with that. Who takes care of the animals? People like this right here, Eric, and you just donated a lot of money to them, so I'd like to say thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving, big man. I'd like you to please take care of your health, stay strong. I'm going back to Hawaii in not too long, in a few months, hopefully. Stay with it, fight the fight, and come out and see me. I got stories to tell you, all kinds of stuff. You said you got things that would blow my mind. I got a lot of stuff that would blow your mind too, so why don't we go ahead and do that? For the rest of you, if you're still here, the BQEYZ Autumn, very good set, recommended a lot. You guys have a happy Thanksgiving, okay? Please take care of yourselves. Be thankful for your health. This all ties into that. You don't think about it until you don't have it. It's like money and everything else. We just take shit for granted, and then when it's not really there, we start thinking, oh, wow, I really appreciate that. Don't wait till you get sick. Appreciate it. If you got good health, you're stressing about a boss as a prick, a coworker that's lazy, and all that stuff that you can deal with later, and it's not that big a deal. Don't worry about it. You got your health. You're doing good. And I'm out. This is for you, BigErik.